Good morning, graduates, family, friends, and the university staff behind me. It is my role as Pro-Chancellor of the University and the presiding officer today to formally welcome you for the conferment of awards for candidates from the Faculty of Engineering and Physical Science. Welcome to this big day in your lives. I really hope you and your friends and family enjoy it. I should just explain it's quite difficult here because I can't see any of you, so I'm imagining that you're smiling because of the lights. For most people, this marks the formal transition or the formal day of transition from their education to employment. Others, it's the start of their career in professional education or for research. I'm sure the many parents in the room will welcome, hopefully, their children and offspring leaving the payroll and going on to something better, but it may not happen yet from my personal experience. I really like graduation ceremonies, the energy and emotion of a special occasion like today. There's huge amounts of apprehensive tension in the room. In a few minutes' time, you'll see all that tension evaporate as you walk out with your degree. From here, we can see all the emotions. The graduates come up those stairs, some skip, some stumble, some are hesitant, they're excited, they're nervous, they have dread at meeting the Pro-Chancellor or whoever. There's relief and there's confidence. It's all part of being a human being in a high-achieving group. And that's what all you graduates are. You're all going to be high achievers, having come from a great university like this. You will need to go out into the world and become leaders in your profession and also lead the human race in all the challenges that we've got behind us or in front of us. This is a proud moment. There are few landmarks in your life that you will feel as big as this is with reflection. From a personal point of view, I arrived in Southampton 50 years ago today, 50 years ago this year. I met some great people, I did a lot of stuff, and I learned a lot, which led to a very interesting career. I also made lifelong friends who I still see regularly, albeit most of them live abroad now, which is a bit of a problem. 3 years after arriving, I was due to come down for my graduation. I was climbing in the Lake District. I was more interested in my motorbike and going up hills and drinking beer, to be blunt. I had a short phone call with my father. For those that don't remember, there were no such things as mobile phones there. Short phone call, I said, I'm not coming back to Southampton, I'm going to stay in the Lake District. I was re-educated quite quickly. And I'm pleased I did actually come, because with hindsight, and I've had several children graduate of my own, the graduation means more to your parents than it means to you, and it means a lot to you. So I personally felt a lot more success at seeing my children graduate than I did on my own, but it did give me a foundation to a career. We're going to get to the good bit soon where we hand out the awards, but first I'm going to ask you just to reflect a little bit in time. Back 3 years ago when you first arrived, and the emotions and the fear and the worry and the concerns that you had then. Will I meet new people? Will I understand the lecturers? Will I get on with the lecturers? Will I keep up with the course? Can I do the degree? Can I do the homework or or whatever work is required? And then think about how you pitched into the Freshers' Week. You met lots of new people, you probably did lots of activities you'd never would have done. And gradually over the 3 years, I really hope you've all found confidence, friendship, skills, learning, knowledge, mental processes that you probably didn't realise that you were learning. And I would say one thing about particularly formal technical engineering, it's the processes that you naturally learn as much as what you actually learn that carry you forward to the rest of your career. Because technology changes, the environment changes, but how you do it doesn't change, but it can evolve. So this has all been part of your journey to becoming a graduate at the University of Southampton. And as you leave today and embark on those new challenges, I really hope you reflect on the time you've had here, what you've learned, and think about the future and whether you wish to come back and contribute in the future, and I will talk about that later. But let's take a moment or two to thank the people who have been here for you, your family, your friends, your support networks, and especially your tutors and all the university staff. This stuff does not happen by accident. There's a lot of planning, a lot of effort, and people really mean well and want to support the graduates. So let's make some noise for them. Can we have a clap of appreciation, please? But this is your big day, the culmination of years of hard work, and thank you for all you have put into the journey as part of this great institution. So let's continue today with today's celebrations. Here's to you, our students, our graduands, our graduates, our alumni, and our future. Have fun today and soak it in and celebrate. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Professor Andy Cruden. I'm the Associate Dean for Infrastructure within the Faculty of Engineering and Physical Sciences. Today I have the immense honour for introducing the winner of the 2025 Outstanding Alumni Lifetime Achievement Award. Dr. Adrian Newey, OBE, stands as one of the most successful and influential engineers in the history of Formula One. For over 4 decades, he has led the way in motorsport innovation, transforming car design and redefining what is possible in race engineering. Adrian joined the University of Southampton to study aeronautics and astronautics, graduating in 1980. From his earliest days as a student, he showed a passion for pushing boundaries, a mindset that continues to define his remarkable career. In July 2000, we welcomed Adrian back to the university to recognise his major contributions and international reputation in a fiercely competitive profession, and awarded him the degree Doctor of Science honoris causa. He has designed championship-winning cars for 3 of Formula One's most iconic teams: Williams, McLaren and Red Bull Racing. His engineering vision and relentless pursuit of performance have powered more than 220 Grand Prix victories and secured multiple Constructors and Drivers' World Championships. No other designer in the sport's history has delivered title-winning cars for 3 different teams. Adrian achieved that distinction through bold thinking, technical mastery and sheer dedication. In 2012, the UK recognised Adrian's contribution to motorsport by awarding him an OBE. More recently, in March of this year, he took on a new chapter as Managing Technical Partner at Aston Martin Aramco Formula One team, taking his expertise to yet another iconic name in the sport. But Adrian never forgets his roots. He stays closely connected to the University of Southampton, a proud ambassador for our engineering community. He regularly shares his time and insights with students, inspiring the next generation of engineers to think creatively and aim high. Adrian's career represents excellence at the highest level of global sport. His leadership in motorsport engineering, pioneering achievements, and his continued generosity towards the next generation all reflect the values we hold as a university. The Lifetime Achievement Award is presented to an alumnus or alumna who has made an outstanding contribution to society over an extended period of time and is highly regarded for their efforts. Adrian richly deserves this recognition, the legacy he has built and the inspiration he continues to offer. Pro-Chancellor, I present to you the winner of the 2025 Outstanding Alumni Lifetime Achievement Award, Adrian Newey. We're going to break from tradition for this next part, as Adrian was keen to take questions from students as part of his right to reply. And thank you to all who submitted questions. Clearly, we can't go through all of them, so we have a selection. So first, Adrian, can I ask if you could please describe your time as a student at University of Southampton?
Certainly, but first of all, I'd like to say congratulations to all of you for graduating today. I know how hard you must have worked, how probably it's been difficult at times. I cast my thoughts back to all those years ago, and it was something that will probably soak in over the coming weeks and months. Just your time at Southampton was an achievement, and hopefully how much you've enjoyed it. So again, congratulations. My time at Southampton, so I actually got into Southampton off an ordinary national diploma. It was meant to be equivalent to A-levels, but it wasn't in truth, in as much as the maths was very weak. So my first year at Southampton was incredibly difficult. By Christmas, frankly, I didn't think I could do it, and I was about to drop out. And my tutor, the late Ken Bergin, really encouraged me to say, no, I think keep going, I'm confident you can do it. And so I did. So I managed to get through the first year. I have to say that first year, my social life was very lacking. I was just working, trying to catch up on maths. But from there on, I think I really enjoyed my time here. The theory kind of became less of a thing as we started to do more practical experiments and more theory that didn't depend on maths, so branching now into aerodynamics, structures, materials, etc., etc. So it was a fabulous time. We had a great friendship group. Got up to some pranks, which I probably shouldn't admit to all of them at this lectern, but it was amazing, and I look back on it with great fondness.
Okay, this question is from Daniel Volok, one of our MEng Aero and Astro students. What was the biggest turning point of your career?
That's an interesting question. Well, first of all, getting my first job. In those days, just as it was pre-mobiles, it was also pre-internet. So I wrote around to all the teams I could find addresses for. I wanted to get into motor racing, and eventually got that first job. And that for so many of you, getting that first job is such a difficulty, I know. After that, it was probably having done a stint in IndyCars in America, coming back to Formula to UK to join a little tiny team, Leighton House, in the back end of 1987. And that first Formula One car that I was responsible for, or overall in charge of, the 88 Leighton House, was quite a, I hate the word revolutionary, but it was a very different car compared to everything else that was around at the time. And perhaps considering we're a tiny little team of 50 people, unbelievable now, it caused some heads, it got some decent results, and that kind of put my name, I suppose, as somebody that that other teams started to take notice of, which then eventually led to my move to Williams and my career from there.
Excellent, thank you. And another question from Taryn Ramphel, who's again an MEng Aero and Astro student, and this is an interesting one. As an engineer, how do you know when a project or design is finished, even when perfectionism and optimization tempt you to continue refining it?
Yeah, that is another very good and very difficult question. Usually it's deadlines. So at the moment, as Colin mentioned earlier, then I've just joined Aston Martin, a new team, and we're designing the car heavily in the design loop for the 26 car. The deadlines for the key bits, the chassis, the gearbox, etc., are coming up very fast. So I would, of course, as an engineer, like to keep going, working with my fellow engineers at Aston to keep developing, but at some point we have to freeze it so that the mechanical design department can get on and actually design the car, and then manufacturing have enough time to have a sporting chance of manufacturing it ready for the first test in January. So very often it's lead times that kind of bring you to a pens down situation. The other thing, which is sometimes I find that I kind of iterate through loops, and then particularly if it's an aerodynamic shape that's probably been developed in CFD, at some point you've got to say, right, I'll send this to the wind tunnel now, see how it performs, and then get another feedback loop. And I also find that quite often you can go stale on a certain area, and it's then best to sit back, do something different, and then the brain's an amazing thing. The subconscious seems to keep working away at the problem. Come back 3 days, 1 week, 1 month later, and fresh ideas will have come up by then.
Okay. I guess final question, I think a crucial one for everyone here. What advice would you give to graduates in the audience today?
So, as all of you are engineering graduates, I can tailor that response a little bit. Chances are you'll be going into working for a team of possibly other graduates, but obviously more experienced peers. And I think the main advice there is learn from your colleagues, be very inquisitive. Don't be painful about it, but ask questions. At times, your work will probably be criticised. You may have a boss which is quite hard on you. Try to not be overly upset or take that personally. Very often, if a boss is hard on you, it's because he's got his own pressures and he's reflecting it onto you. As I say, because you're now in a very different environment, the work environment, then you will be under different pressures. Be open to that, as I mentioned, be inquisitive to that, and try to work with your colleagues. There's no other advice I can give. It's being adaptive to whatever work life now throws at you. Don't get down. At times, there'll be times when you think, oh, this is all a bit hard. At those moments, you've just got to dig deep, believe in yourself, and keep going. That's the best advice I can bring from all my years, I'm afraid.
Thank you. So let's enjoy it. I think is the top advice. So
and that's
can I
probably
just
the most important thing of all. Enjoy it. Enjoy whatever life now throws at you. Always try to find the good and find the enjoyment in it. I think that's and be aware that if you have a bad moment, there's always a good moment around the corner. So just keep going and enjoy life. Good luck with everybody.
Thank you. Can I just ask you?
Good morning. I'm Professor Stephen Bell, Director of Programmes for the Institute of Sound and Vibration Research. Pro-Chancellor, I submit to you the candidates from the Faculty of Engineering and Physical Sciences for the awards of Bachelor of Engineering, Bachelor of Engineering Ordinary Degree, Bachelor of Science, Master of Engineering, Master of Philosophy, Master of Science, Doctor of Philosophy, and Doctor of Science. The names of the candidates from the Faculty of Engineering and Physical Sciences are shown in the programme, and I ask you to admit them to their awards.
I admit them and those in their absentia.
Pro-Chancellor, I will now present the candidates from the Institute of Sound and Vibration Research, Department of Acoustical Engineering. Pro-Chancellor, I present to you the following Bachelors of Engineering: Findlay David Irish. Donin Kim. Harry Edward Foster Scourgy. Sophie Eleanor Gray. Hannah Moody. Pro-Chancellor, I present to you the following Masters of Engineering. Owen Eli McLean. Amir Shivdasani. Oliver Wynne. Jonathan Fu Wen Yang. Barnabas Adam Whiffin. Pro-Chancellor, I now present the candidates from the Institute of Sound and Vibration Research, Department of Audiology. Pro-Chancellor, I present to you the following Bachelors of Science. Iman Afzal. Leila Akhtar. Shahad Fahad Al-Jarasi. Luminique Botchway. Sumaya Elmi. Dear Elizabeth Gigi. Sumaya Khan. Hannah McGlosky. Will Martin. Anna Masterman. Robin Mooney. Lucy Peed. Leah Shahid. Romeo Hussein Emre Esseli. Pro-Chancellor, I present to you the following Masters of Science. Daniel Ira Benjamin Amon. Mackenzie Olivia Rachel Carver. Holly Cumming. Rania Kadawi Belfiq. Shante Shakila Ramsey. Greshma Roy. Emma Frances Webster.
Good morning. My name is Professor Jae-wook Kim. I am the Director of Program for the Department of Aeronautics and Astronautics. Pro-Chancellor, I present the candidates from the Department of Aeronautics and Astronautics. Pro-Chancellor, I present to you the following Bachelors of Engineering ordinary degree. Andre Mosora. Afika Idina Haris Alvin Cyril. Pro-Chancellor, I present to you the following Bachelors of Engineering. Jessica Bryant. Brooke Bunker. Jessica Jane Millicent Callender. Thomas Jacob Cannon. Xiang Yu Chan. Ryan Evans. Rezon Gurung. Katie Rebecca Hicks. Isaac Casely Kwesi Hutchiford. Aaron Johnson. Neil Joseph. Samuel Neal. Avindu Binesh Kodikara. Jack Lipiat. Isham Kairi Jahir Madania. Mohammed Muhith Mohammed Muhajirin. Joshua Newman. Owen O'Hara. Gabrielle Piper. Jonathan Prigmore. Miles Pannell. Miles Russell. Karthik Subramani. Dion Tang Kwang Yao. Matteo Tanzi. Matthew Tyler. Eleanor White. Ben Williams. Lyndon Tasumi Black. George William Bruin. Thomas William Denby. Jay Maman. James Wilson. Lux Andrew Williams. Pro-Chancellor, I present to you the following Masters of Engineering. Sophie Elizabeth Buto. Marcus Mang Hong Yu. Radley Bear. Roman David Bloch. Alessandro Borghese. Wang Yan Chao. Eloise Rose Clepson McBride. Luca Miles Croshaw. Henry David John Davis. Eric Tim August Erickson. Jack Joshua Fitzgerald. William Freewin. Gregorio Wynn Garcia Humphreys. Alexander David Harris. Wang Loi Lu. Ashley George Johnson. Joseph Arthur Irvine Knox. Aparna Imash Kodikara. Wei Chin Lee. Joshua Gilbert Levitt. Justin Mack. Amir Rizwan Mohammed Yazid. Finn James Orchard. Martin Paul Pinto. Haman Tarun Ramphul. Rohan Prashant Reddy. Adam Sabri. Dominic Soltau. Alfred John Vincent. George Walker. Ho Teng Chua. Richard Paul Crew. Cheng Yuan Quack. Weldon Wei Hong Lai. Oliver Michael Merritt. Max David Miles. Joseph Henry Alfred Seymour. Giacomo Succi. Rebecca Chandler. Jie Ian Tan. Anneli Bear. Matthew James Calhoun. Samuel Adam Horsey. Drew Callum McLachlan. George Craig Porches. Yuta Tasaki. Daniel Michael Nigel Vlok. Lee G. Kit. Jing Hong Nug. Ethan Jed Underwood. Charles Penny Williams. Sean Yan Jia Chu. Thomas Freeman. Alexander Thomas Cheshire Wilson. Arilaos Caravagelis. William James Michael Leva. Lilia Desai. Alvaro Dose Sainz. Brooke English. Henry Gage. Samuel Hincliffe. Samuel David Rosa. Rowan Milburn Thomas. Benjamin George Everest. Bernadette Rachel Chang Whitehead. Calais Isabella Chesney. Kimari Chong. Sean Edmiston Lane. Leo Escorcel Tobella. Victoria Angela Heppingstone. Daniel Hutchings. Harry Johnson. Angelica Veronica Kochiagiviz. J.C. Kiriel. Tom Love. Oliver William Peter McLaughlin. Benjamin Nergard. Alejandro Para Pintado. Kian Patel. Joan Pelters Keller. Zachary Miles Phipps. Pankuri Priyanshi. Muhammad Ishad Kuyam bin Shahid Kuyam. Lambusram Rajendran. Charlotte Hope Ratledge. Ashwin Reggie. Arjan Riyat. Francisco Ribeiro Stelza. James Robertson. Kishiho Sahadevan. Catalejo Matlaso Elliot Samueli. Daniel James Strong. Luc van Eldik. Edward Vining. Aditya Hari Viswanathan. Harry Wild. James Worgan. Molly Jennifer Wright. Gianluca Borgo. Thomas Compton. Christian Stimson. James Michael Bruce Tennant. Moksha Prashant Chafawal. Michael Ethan Grope. Andreas Hedges. Oliver Peter Littlewood. Conor Bjorn Loman. Thomas George Miller. Michael Alexander Pressland. Prithu Sachdeva. Emmanuel Bachelor. Jake Bennett. Rupert Charles Manion Curtis. James Horn. Joseph Maud. Heather McAllister. Matthew Thomas McCoy. Joseph Moorman. Shivani Neya. Darren Ong Shao Pao. Georgia Ellen Skelton. Oliver Tinson. Andrew Tripp. Pro-Chancellor, I present the candidates from the School of Engineering. Pro-Chancellor, I present to you the following Master of Philosophy. Bradley Thomas McLaughlin. Pro-Chancellor, I present to you the following Doctors of Philosophy. For a thesis entitled Statistical Modeling of Squamion Magnetic Materials with Defects. Vanessa Naruji. For a thesis entitled Complexity Matters, Polymyxin Antibiotics and the Bacterial Cell Envelope, Ian Peter Shand Smith. For a thesis entitled Exploring Factors Important for Clinical Application of Cortical Responses to Continuous Speech, Gada Salam Al-Jaboa. For a thesis entitled Investigations into the Application of Generative Deep Learning to Aerodynamic Shape Parameterization, Joshua Thomas Bamford. For a thesis entitled Resolvent-Based Models for Nonlinear Solutions of All-Bounded Flows and Statistical Estimation of Chaotic Systems, Thomas Barton. For a thesis entitled Predicting High-Resolution Terrain Properties in Robotic Survey Applications, Jose de la Cruz Capelletto. For a thesis entitled Time-of-Flight Characterization of Alternative Propellant for Porous Electrospray Thrusters, Szymon Dworsky. For a thesis entitled Integration of Enrichment and Accumulation Process for Polyhydroxy alkanotes production by utilizing waste from sewage works with mixed microbial culture, Songbong Ha. For a thesis entitled, A Generalized AI-Based Model for Rolling Element Bearing Fault Diagnosis in Rotating Machinery, Amir Masood Kiakojouri. For a thesis entitled, Modeling Railway Rolling Noise, Christopher Knus. For a thesis entitled, Spectral X-ray Imaging Using Deep Learning, Razia Kubra Kumrula. For a thesis entitled, Predicting Aerodynamics with Hierarchical Geometric Deep Learning, the GCN MMAE Net Framework, David Masego San Pietro. For a thesis entitled, Biologically Inspired Underwater Soft Robotics, Enhanced Force Production and Disturbance Rejection, Leo Miklem. For a thesis entitled, A Real-Time Cost-Effective Wireless Sensor Network for Monitoring Peatlands with High Spatial and Temporal Resolution, Hazel Louise Mitchell. For a thesis entitled, Ridge-Induced Secondary Flows in Wall Turbulence, Anders Matthias Nielsen Takeuchi. For a thesis entitled, Efficient Design of Real and Complex Valued Neural Networks, Vlad Stefan Paul. For a thesis entitled, Experimentally Modeling Urban Air Pollution and Measuring Turbulent Dispersion, Thomas Jarres Rich. For a thesis entitled, Mission Analysis for Nanosets Using a Printed Microthrust Distributed Propulsion System, Kashinath Sadur. For a thesis entitled, Development of a Vacuum Arc Thruster Technology through Printed Architecture and Improved Arc Stability, James Salet. For a thesis entitled, Aerodynamic and Aeroacoustic Characterization of Tip Leakage Flows, Ivan Saracino. For a thesis entitled, Control of Biofouling in Water Pipes Using Guided Waves, Austin Cantor Stone. For a thesis entitled, A Joint System-Based Optimization of Hydrofoils Using Algorithmic Differentiation, Raphael Andreas Maximilian Tannenberg. For a thesis entitled, Characterization and Source Separation of Turbofan Broadband Noise Using Intra-Stage Measurements, Ram Kumar Venkateswaran. For a thesis entitled, Credibility-Based Optimization of Hybrid Electric Aircraft, Nicholas Frederick Maximilian Waller. For a thesis entitled, Non-Invasive Method of Measuring Resonance Properties of Fish Swim Bladders, Lo Cheng Wu. for a thesis entitled Insights into the Initiation of Motion of Spheres on a Rough Bed in a Turbulent Boundary Layer, William Crawford Jones. For a thesis entitled Automatic Calibration of Laser Stripe Bathymetric Mapping Systems, David Andrew Stanley. Pro-Chancellor, I present to you the following Doctor of Science for a thesis entitled Distinguished Fundamental Research with Extensive Societal and Humanitarian Impact in the Study of Climate Change, the Environment and Safety, Catastrophe Relief, Medical and Healthcare Research, Extraterrestrial and Planetary Science, and the Preservation and Understanding of the Oceans. Timothy Grant Layton. Pro-Chancellor, I present the candidates from the Department of Maritime Engineering. Pro-Chancellor, I present to you the following Bachelors of Engineering. Matthew Charles Alan Clinch. Toby Crutchley. Joshua Francis. William Leonard Forston. Harry Lister. Evangelos Theodoros Livanos. Tommy Joe Palmer. Robin Stein. Dylan Martin Thorley. Pro-Chancellor, I present to you the following Masters of Engineering. Luke Sidney Sheridan. Jonathan Francis de Cruz. Lisandro Santana Mota Nicoletti. Sylvia Calvo Bentham. Jamie Christopher Michael Cook. Oliver Evans. Tegan Elena Pears. Sam Richardson. Joseph Walters. Stefan Tiberio Judora. Pro-Chancellor, I present the candidate from the Department of Medical Engineering. Pro-Chancellor, I present to you the following Master of Science. Hemachandra Prasanna Kumar.
Good morning. Great to see everybody bearing up in this wonderful weather that we're having. Graduation is a highlight of the year for me. It's wonderful to be able to sit up here and see the students come up looking so happy and proud, and also to hear all the clapping, the cheering, and indeed screaming, as we've heard today, coming from the families, friends, and supporters. My name is Michael Butler. I'm Dean of the Faculty of Engineering and Physical Sciences, and on behalf of the faculty, it's my great pleasure to congratulate all of today's graduates. So we're really proud of what you have achieved. We hope you've enjoyed your time here. We're sure you have. And we're really pleased, of course, that you chose to study here at the University of Southampton. The students who are here today are all from the School of Engineering. You will have benefited from the excellent education and mentoring offered by colleagues in the school, many of whom are here today. Got to use our excellent facilities and also been exposed to excellent research that's undertaken across our schools. Indeed, the PhD students who are graduating today will have contributed directly to our research, and we're really grateful for your contributions. Researchers in our schools are increasingly working together to address major societal challenges around decarbonisation of our economy, technologies for improved living, and resilient infrastructure. I'm going to mention some highlights from this year in the School of Engineering. Of course, the Engineering Design Show is the highlight of the year, which showcases the excellent student projects. Many visitors who come to this were really impressed by the excellent quality of our student work, particularly the group design projects. The show included the unveiling of Stag 11, which is our latest Formula Student entry to the Formula Student competition, and that's our fourth electric vehicle. In October, Joe Banks and his team supported Smart Green shipping demonstrations, which is the latest wing sailing technology, and that sailed into Southampton to highlight ways of using old-fashioned techniques of sailing to reduce energy consumption. In a melding of past and the future, Dr. Giacomo Squiccerini in ISVR is carrying out work to use the latest digital technologies to create the sounds of historical pianos. Professor Christina van der Wal and her team in aeronautics have been assessing air quality in Southampton and the surrounding region as part of the university's campaign to highlight environmental improvements needed to help with healthcare. A group design project supervised by Professor Hugh Lewis and Dr. Andrea Camerano were invited to attend the European Space Conference in Brussels in spring this year and recognized for the development of a non-Earth imaging sensor system. So graduates, you leave today with advanced skills in engineering and science, but more broadly, strengthened ability to acquire and apply knowledge and use it to solve real-world problems. These qualities will serve you well in any sphere. As you join our university's alumni, it's important to remember that you will always be part of the community of the School of Engineering. We do hope that you will stay in touch as you set off on the next stages of your journey of growth and discovery. We're excited to see what lies ahead, and we know that you're going to make a difference to the world and the lives of those who surround you. So congratulations once again.
So now that you've had your moment on stage, there's much else to do today. There's many people to talk to, photos to take, and it says here, glasses to raise. So I'll keep this part of the ceremony brief. Most of you have got engineering and physical science degrees, absolutely fantastic. When you go outside to see the world, nearly everything you do is engineered. You can't solve climate change by painting pictures on the side of a bus. You've got to engineer a solution. You can't fix hospitals without MRI machines, which have to be engineered. So use your engineering skills and your leadership capability that you've been taught here to help lead the world and solve the huge challenges that the human race has always had in front of it. I would really like to thank you, the graduates, for all your hard work. Coming to university is fun, or it should be fun, but it's also about taking the next step in your education, your next step in growing up, your next step in becoming a useful human being. You're now part of an extensive alumni community. There's over 300,000 of you from this university, spanning over 185 countries and overseas territories. And to use a phrase often used in some contexts, but the world is your oyster. International travel, modern communication, your skill set, you can go anywhere and do almost anything, and I'm sure a lot of you will. Your alumni community is invaluable, and so I ask you that you use your place within it as much as you can. There's lots of communication from the university, there's lots of good networks, information is abounds now on the internet. Please give your feedback, please use it, and please come and help if you're in the locality. More importantly, the alumni community is here to support you, and I'm sure in any questions that they have, they can help you move forward, personal or private or professional reasons. But finally, I'd like to ask everyone to offer a round of applause to all you graduates. You're now graduates, not graduands. That was a very short 1 hour, 20-minute ceremony when you were a graduand. You are now graduates. So a big round of applause, please, for all the graduates. Thank you. I now formally declare this ceremony closed. Thank you again.